When I'm working with new investors who are getting into the real estate investment world for the first time, one of the most important tips that I give to them is, number one, you have to stay teachable and you have to stay accountable to the people that you're learning from. Okay? You do not want to enter into the world of risky investing with your money or with other people's money and you're not teachable and not accountable on a regular basis, because there are so many things that change every day in the world of investing, especially if you're investing creatively, that you always have to stay on top of how those changes are affecting the things that you do. It could just be something simple as the way contracts are written and how attorneys have to change certain language in those contracts in order for them to be, of course, legal, but in order for those contracts to actually carry weight in the event something goes left. Okay, like in today's world, we have a lot of wholesalers who are under fire because of a lack of disclosures. We have a lot of creative investors who are under that same fire because of lack of disclosures. And so, again, you want to stay teachable and you want to stay accountable. I would prefer, even if it's not me, and I say this to people that I work with, listen, if I'm not the one that you want to align with, find someone that you can gel with. Find somebody that you feel like got your vibe, got your swag, that you can see yourself staying connected to, growing with, even doing business with. Because everybody ain't for everybody, but you want to find and align yourself with the people that you can learn from, because you got to be teachable, and be held accountable to, because you got to be accountable. Now, with that being said, let's just assume you're learning, you're understanding the analytics behind deals, you can underwrite deals, you know all the ins and outs of the terms and concepts, you have you got the knowledge, right? You're ready to get in the game. Okay, and you're being held accountable because now you have confidence and a little more courage, because you know if for some reason something comes up, you can make a call, or you can go into the group or get into the platform, find the course, or call the mentor. Let's just assume you've checked those boxes. What is the next most important step for you as a new real estate investor? Me, I think, is to generate a lead. Like it's all about generating a lead. Like if you ain't got no leads, guess what? You ain't got no deals. And if you ain't got no deals, you ain't got no money. And if you ain't got no money, I know it sounds ghetto, you ain't gonna have no business. Does that make sense? Let me say it again. If you ain't got no leads, you ain't got no deals. If you ain't got no deals, you ain't got no money. And if you ain't got no money, you ain't gonna have no business. So it all revolves around generating a lead. Now, if you're going to generate a lead, there's some things that you just have to be clear on, okay? Like a lead is a potential seller for a real estate investor. So for you to have a lead as a real estate investor, that means you have contact information on someone who could potentially sell you their home, all right? It's no different than any other type of business, whether you're selling a product or providing a service. In this case, your product is actually the service of being an investor who provides solutions for people who need them because they have problems regarding their property. But in order for you to generate a lead, that means you got to do some stuff to get the contact information for someone who fits your investment criteria. In business, we call it a PCP, a perfect client profile. Who fits your profile? So again, there are some things that you got to be clear on if you're going to properly generate a lead. What are some of those things? Well, you got to be clear on your investment criteria. Or in the creative world, we may call it your buy box. Your buy box. You got to be clear on that. What type of real estate do you want to buy? And here's what my challenge is to my students, because I talk to some of my students and they're like, I want to buy skyscrapers. I want to buy mobile homes. I want to buy storage units. Okay, we know you want to just buy up the world. But if you were in a position that you had to make a purchase in the next 90 days, what would be considered the low-hanging fruit for you if you had to make a move in the next 90 days? Most of them are going to say, oh, single family. And I'm not saying single family is the only way, but a lot of times for some people it's the low-hanging fruit. It may not be the best way or the way for you. All I'm saying is you just need to be clear on what type of real estate do you need to buy. Why? Because that's going to have a lot to do with the type of lead I'm generating. Like the person who owns a 10-unit apartment complex or the entity that owns a 10-unit apartment complex is totally different from the person who has a vacant house and they live on the other side of the world, or who just inherited a house because their grandma died, or who's in foreclosure and they don't know what they're going to do because the auction is 2 months away, or the person who's been trying to sell their home because they relocated because of a job and now the house is sitting empty and they paying the mortgage. Like that, the profile of these people are different. But when I'm clear on the kind of or the type of property that I know I want to buy in the next 90 days, do I want to buy a 10 unit or 100 unit or a skyscraper? Of course, at some point, at some stage. But right now, if I had to make a move in the next 90 days, I'm probably closer to making the move for a specific type of property. So I want to check that box on the type. What type of property, okay? Then I want to figure out what role do I want to play? Do I want to play the role of a finder to get a finder's fee? Do I just want to find the deal, but I don't want to deal with all the contracts and all the paperwork and the logistics and the inspections and the due diligence and the earnest money and the attorneys and title companies? Well, then I might just want to be a finder. I might just want to find that person, and then once I find that person, have an investor that I can submit that information to and get me a finder's fee. Maybe I want to be the wholesaler. Maybe I want to do more than just find it. Maybe I want to find it, get the paperwork locked in and secured, get the terms secured, and then submit it to an investor. Maybe I got a little money and I just want to be a private money lender. So I want to find people who selling, I want to find people who buying, and I want to tell the people who buying, listen, I ain't got time for none of that, but I got money that I can put in on the deal if you give me a percentage, especially if you're fixing and flipping or buying and holding, and I can get some money coming in every month based on the rent. So you got to decide, do I want to be the investor? Do I want to be the one doing the doggone thing? So you really need to check that box, like the who box. Who do I want to be in a deal when I do generate that lead? Who do I want to be? All right. This is very, very important. Now, when you start peeling back some of the details of these types of properties and who you want to be, that's going to have a lot to do to determine what property you want. Do you want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath? Do you want duplexes only? Do you want properties that were built in the 2000s or the 70s? Do you want them in a certain area? These are all the layers that you start peeling back. And then once you are clear with what type, who do you want to be in that property? What type, what person do you want to be? What role you want to play? And what that property actually needs to look like for you to meet your investment criteria, your buy box. It's easier for you to craft a marketing campaign to those specific people. It just makes it so much easier because now you're not wasting your time sending mailers out to everybody, most of whom don't even want to sell their house. You're not wasting your time getting people to cold call sellers who don't even fit your criteria. Because if you waste your time, at some point you're going to start feeling like, man, this is just a drag. Because like I said, I like to tell people, go from 0 day to 90, where you at right now, and then you count day one, and you go all the way to 90, that, okay, I'm going to have me a property, whatever the kind of property is, a house, a duplex, or whatever. Give yourself that window and determine, okay, what type of property am I going to buy? who do I want to be in this deal? Do I want to be the buyer, the end buyer? Do I want to be the wholesaler? Do I want to be the private money lender? Do I just want to be the finder? Do I want to be a partner to bring somebody in on this? Who do I want to be? Okay. And the other details of that property, what kind, like do I want a 3-2, what year, what area, and it just makes it easier for me to put together my marketing campaign so that when I start getting attention and I generate the lead, I know the particular person that I'm talking to or that I'm getting the contact information on fits my investment criteria. This is critical. I see this all the time, and I've worked with a lot of investors, and of course, as a coach and a consultant, I work with a lot of students and mentees who want to become investors, and they don't clear this stuff up before they just start throwing money at Facebook ads or pay-per-click ads or sending mailers and letters out, or just, buying whole lists and not filtering those lists and cleaning those lists so that they can be clear on who that person is that they're talking to or who that person is that's telling them no. Even if I'm getting no's, at least I'm getting no's from the people who fit my criteria, because I know at some point all those no's are going to make room for that one yeah. And that's what I do. That's what a lot of successful real estate investors I know do. And that's what you should do, especially if you know without a shadow of a doubt, real estate investing is going to be your gateway to get you and your family to the next level.